Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Go on, starring Matthew.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
I don't know what that is. I think you might have just made
I remember
it
Studio 60. Was he Studio 60 or
He
was he?
was.
Okay.
Go on. It was like he lost his wife and he was in a support group. It was kind of like, what if Community was about a support group?
Huh.
That's
Was
I
it
liked
good?
it. I liked it, yeah.
All right. I mean, I believe you. I'm not going to look it up.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
believe that's a show that exists.
I'm
so-
hastily making the Wikipedia for it,
He
right?
could be inventing this show out of whole cloth, and we will never know. We're never going to double check on it.
I'm never going to
That
confirm
sounds like a show that Matthew Perry would have done at this stage in his career.
Yeah.
Not going to question that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's one where he's like the ring announcer at a local circus. Yeah, that sounds like something he
Sure.
should have done. Yeah,
Oh, I would watch the
it's
shit out of
called
that.
The Big Time.
Yeah, that was on ABC for like 2 seasons.
I mean, you could tell me anything's on like Tubi, and I'd be like, yeah, I guess.
There's no way of knowing. That's impossible
There's
to
no way
confirm.
to know.
It's impossible
Yeah.
to confirm. We could have a show on Tubi. We would never know.
We could, yeah.
Yeah,
That's Hamlet's favorite streaming service, though he always gets confused whether it's something's on it or not.
is it on Tubi or not?
Or
Tubi?
not to be.
Is it a Netflix?
I see what you did.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of energy I'm going to bring. If you
That's
want me to
fine.
leave, I'm happy to leave.
I mean, no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
All right. We'll just call that strike one. That's all. And
Yeah.
we'll keep
It's
moving.
like, no, it's just, Dave and I are going to have a long conversation after we're done recording. Oh man. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
It's the show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host Tom Ryman.
I'm the other one, David Bell.
I'm Greg Smith.
Hey,
Hi, Greg.
I'm here. Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome,
Hey, Greg.
How are you?
Man.
I'm doing
Nice to meet
I'm
you.
doing pretty well. It's a beautiful warm day. I have a Coca-Cola Classic.
You can't beat the real.
My dog's lying on the couch behind me. It's pretty good.
That
Oh,
sounds
we should have
good.
had your dog on.
Yeah, she doesn't speak much unless somebody knocks at the door. Mm-hmm. So if we have like a trailer tonight where a lot of people are knocking on doors, she'll be very vocal.
Well, you know that's a fault with the training, Greg, not with the dog.
And I own it and I accept it. And I will be better next time. I will be better.
All right. Good. That's strike two, but good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And how many
No,
strikes
welcome to
again
the
is
show.
it?
I don't know, like 14?
It's a rolling. It's it's a rolling tally.
Yeah. I mean, they all have strikes
We add
against us.
up the strikes of each guest, and then at the end of the year they have to send us that much money.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I think I signed a contract that said one strike was like $90. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
and
We'll see.
adjust for inflation.
Right.
And stuff
We'll see
like
what
that.
the market
course.
does this year, but that's like a good like base for you to sort of like plan your budget
Right.
around. Is that $90 figure?
Yeah.
That's great. Can I send it to you in 19 NFTs of like an ape with like bloodshot eyes holding a Coca-Cola Classic?
Yeah, I mean, I don't deal. I I only deal with NFTs now.
I just assumed it would be.
Sorry,
an
I
ape
shouldn't have
form,
even brought it up. I'll take that other strike.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
good.
add another couple apes onto that tally.
They're so bored. Those apes. They're so bored.
They're so bored.
It's so droll. Those apes.
Yeah,
How
welcome.
delightfully droll! I'll spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on that.
First time Hypecast. So
Yeah.
congratulations and welcome.
Thank you for
And
having
all
me. I'm
that.
hyped to be here.
Oh
Good.
man, we're hyped to have you.
Yeah, always hyped.
This
What have you guys been up to? What's your day been like? Good day, bad day? How's the day going?
It was a bit of a crunchy day at work
Sure.
today. We had like one of those all hands meetings where like 20 people were on a Zoom.
and they spilled Rice Krispies everywhere.
Yeah, and someone lost their contact lens at the same time. We all had to look around the ground like Velma trying to find it.
Sure.
I think I accidentally ate the contact lens, which is good news because my stomach is nearsighted.
Huh.
But then,
All right.
someone else, it was a mess. We didn't get much done about like our quarterly projections, but what are you going to do?
No. You're not going to do anything is what you're going to do.
Mm-mm.
I got a new fan, you guys. I got a new desk fan.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how to shut it off, so I just put it across the room.
Usually unplugging it will help
Nope.
with that.
Not in this case. It runs on a battery.
Oh.
It's a smart fan. I read the instructions. They're in very broken English. I do not know how to shut off this fan.
Well, then
What
it,
is
it
going to
lived
stay
up
on?
to its name. David outsmarted you.
Yeah, it did.
What makes it a smart fan?
It's got the...
We've
it's
been
not-
over that. Craig.
Yeah. No, it's the one that's bladeless. You know, I learned about bladeless fans. You know those bladeless ones? They look like these big round dildos.
I
like
do,
the-
yes.
They just have the fan inside of them. That's it. There's just a fan in the base that sucks the air and sends it out. That's not bladeless.
So
that's just they put the blades somewhere where
They relocated
they're
the
not visible.
blade. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
Isn't that just like society? We take the things we don't want and we put them underground and
Yep,
pretend
it's-
they're not there.
Those are some below the line blades for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I can't shut it off.
Yeah.
It's just
That's the trade. That's your Faustian bargain.
yeah.
Like, listen, we'll take off the blades, but this thing is it's going to stay on.
It has one button.
It's
It has
non-negotiable.
one button that does everything except shut it off.
It has one button and it's not on off.
Nope, it's not. You press it and the ring changes colors around it, and
that's
it
fun.
just goes at various speeds and fluctuations. But none of them are off.
You press it and somewhere somebody dies.
Yeah,
Yeah, Richard
but I
Kelly
don't get $1
directed
million.
your smart fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard Kelly directed your fan.
Which is why it's a little confusing, but like a cult hit.
Yeah, it's going to really, your fan will really be appreciated in about 15 years.
yeah.
Should we name some producers, Dave? You
Yeah,
wanna
we could do that.
Yeah, let's
We
do
could do
that.
that.
Let's get into that.
I will start. Big old thank you to Heathcliff's Helping Handfuls. Thank you very much. Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head.
Super
Thank
convenient.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you to Left, thank you. Thank you to Samuel Beckett's Donuts and Mortgage Emporium. Thank you. Thank you to Ryan, the Silly Money Goose. Thank you to Snapper Car Punches God in the Dick.
Sure does.
Thank you to @Nerd Numbers. Thank you @Nerd Numbers. Thank you to Mike the Lurker. Thank you so much. Thank you to DJ Finney. Always a pleasure.
On the ones and twos.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire. Thank you. Thank you to Brockaway loves the meat Millie. Thank you. Thank you to David
Knife
Boot Henson. Thank you.
All right, let me jump in here. They get a Grumblebee.
Do it. Thank
They
you.
get a Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank
They
you.
get a Look Mom on a podcast.
Thank you.
They get a Seismic Charge Noise.
Thank you.
They get a Deborah's Awesome, Barbara's Great, and Cancer Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
They get a Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcano Coniosis Jones.
Thank you.
They get the Baby from Eraserhead.
Thank
They
you.
get a Chiz Lily Tits.
Thank
They get
you.
these 7 Bs.
Thank you.
They get a Breezy Ruizy.
Thank
They
you.
get a Davy Francis 4, The Revenge.
Thank you.
And thank you to MVB.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
All right.
man, we've got some trailers. We've got one or two
We
trailers.
do. We have one or maybe two trailers.
Perhaps two, yeah.
Yeah, starting with Miss Marvel. This is the Disney Plus Marvel show based off some sort of comic book, I'm told. Great trailer. I just want to say at the top of this, most of these trailers, I really liked them as trailers.
There is one that I simply cannot wait to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you know which one it is.
Sure, but this is Miss Marvel.
Yes.
This is
this
feels
trailer.
like it's for the tweens. Feels like.
Yeah, I mean, are you familiar at all with the character in the comics?
I am not.
Either
No,
you
I'm
jabronis? Oh, she's I think Kamala is in high school, but
She seems like it.
I think high school. Yeah, it's got to be high school. She's too old for middle school. Anyway, gets in the comics she's an Inhuman, which is like basically like the it's like it's kind of like X-Men, where it's just like some garbage happened depending on what timeline I think that like awakened their powers or something. But it looks like in this one she finds like cosmic gauntlets that give her powers.
Right, some sort of. She's like she's an everyday tween who wants to be Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
She idolizes Captain Marvel. She gets some sort of gauntlets. I mean, I'm fine with them not adding in more like not Eternals. What did you say? Inhumans?
Inhumans.
I'm glad they're not adding more of that stuff. This would have been a good opportunity for them to introduce the concept of mutants, I guess. But it feels like they're not actually going to do that, are they?
Don't know.
Well, it
I
feels
don't know
like,
either.
not to jump into another Marvel trailer, but Patrick Stewart's voice in Doctor Strange, that'll probably introduce those dang mutants, right?
That's introducing like multiverse, so you could argue, and this is, I think, what they should have done for Eternals. Maybe they'll be like, well, in our universe, there's mutants, and now they start pouring in or something, but that wouldn't work for Miss Marvel. Unless like mutants just become a thing that starts. I don't know. Point is that you're right, Tom, is that it seems like they're giving her some sort of cosmic technology that gives her Green Lantern powers.
It's general cosmic. What she can do in the comics is like she's like Mr. Fantastic. She can stretch, she can make herself grow big, make herself really small. She can like, I forget, polymorph, that's what it's called.
Okay. It looked like Green Lantern shit, didn't it?
Yeah, in this it kind of looks more like she does she makes her fist get big and long in one shot, but it looks mostly kind of like generic cosmic energy in this trailer, which is for like it's a little like disappointing, but the rest of the trailer was so good around it that I'm like, what, like if they have to change her power set, whatever, to jive more with the universe that they're currently mapping out, that's fine. Like, whatever. It's the same character.
Yeah, what'd you guys think of this trailer, by the way?
I liked it.
I don't have a prior history with the comic book character. A very efficient way to get me hooked in is to use a song by one of my favorite pop stars, The Weeknd.
Yeah.
And the fact that they use blinding lights and that they like orchestrated it at the end, I'm like, man, you could set this to literally anything. I'm going to like it at least a little bit.
Right. Yeah, that again, my first thought was just like, what a well done trailer.
Yeah.
As for the show itself, it also looks good.
It looks really charming to me. It kind of reminded me, do y'all watch Central Park on Apple TV?
No.
There's a character in that show, like a middle school tween girl who also draws herself as a superhero and kind of fantasizes about being a superhero. Mm-hmm. And the beginning of this, where there was like literal comic book text and graphics.
Yeah, like papercraft too, which
I
is
thought
really
was
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Central Park in a way that I'm like, that's really interesting.
Oh, it reminded me of the Spider-Mens.
Yeah.
Because the Spider-Mens do that as well.
In the end credits, though.
Yeah, but I guess my point is it's an aesthetic that Marvel has established for like the high school stuff, which is fine. Like it looks good.
Yeah, it's effective.
Yeah.
And like Greg said, it's efficient. It kind of lets us know immediately who this character is. I also appreciated that it's relatively light on the superhero stuff.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like with the first two Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, they're at their strongest when he's not being Spider-Man, in my opinion, when he's just like a high school dramedy. And this looks to be leaning directly into that very charming, kind of immediately endearing, you got to find yourself and empower yourself sort of story, which I think I'm going to really dig.
I don't think they're going to rush it either because it feels like at this point one of the, not like risks, because this is, I think comic book fans come to expect this, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe is becoming just saturated with heroes at this point, right? Because we're just having so many series. And so, like, regardless of what it's about, every time they introduce a new hero now, I'm like, oh, man. Like, it just feels like it's, like, a lot to juggle. And so it makes sense to keep it relatively small scale at first. You know, like, I don't know. I'm sure if this series goes really well, they'll stick her in a movie.
I think she's already in the second Captain Marvel movie that they're making.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah, because she seems really charismatic and like I don't know, good Marvel hero. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty lukewarm on Marvel personally. So at some point, I'm sure I'll watch this, but
yeah,
it's one of those things where I might need to be told like, oh, it's really good, and then I'll jump on it.
Yeah,
or I'll watch it the entirety of it on a plane trip, which is what I did with Hawkeye. You know, it's
sure. Yeah, I still haven't watched. Like we talked about it. We talk about it a lot, actually, but I still haven't watched Hawkeye. I've missed the last several Marvel series. Like, the last one I watched was Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, I didn't watch Loki. I didn't watch What If. I didn't watch Hawkeye.
For the quality, like, a lot of them have some great moments and a lot of talent, but, like, they didn't matter in the main plot. A lot of them have been kind of, wheel spinny.
It's and I'm curious, Greg, to get your sort of feeling on this, but like since Endgame happened, like it's been hard for me to feel like before that I didn't miss a single Marvel thing, and after that it's like I don't feel like the urgency to catch a lot of this stuff. So like after WandaVision, which I mostly liked, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was fine, like it was like I'm not feeling like these are like must watch events for me, and I'm like sort of just absorbing kind of the broad strokes of what's happening just through the culture. So I don't that's like how Marvel fatigue is sort of like manifesting for me. Are you still what are your thoughts on Marvel right now, Greg?
Yeah, I think creatively it still probably was the stronger choice to end the whole dang thing at Endgame.
Yeah.
And I've liked a lot of stuff since then. I thought WandaVision was pretty darn masterful. The new Spider-Man movie I had a fucking blast at.
Yeah, that was
really fun.
Really surprised how good that was, actually.
Yeah, they really pulled off a lot of plate spinning at once.
They really did, yeah.
Here's what I think it might be, and why I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I kind of wish this was a movie, is that I don't think Marvel considers their TV shows important, or as important as the movies. They're optional, because they're TV shows. So they're doing stories that, like the Captain America, that the entire arc was, I don't want to be Captain America, and then at the end, I'm Captain America, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's sort of what already happened in the movie, like he became, new Captain America, so it's like there's stagnated stories that are designed so that if you miss them, you won't miss everything, and so, like, that bums me out in terms of this, where I think, oh, they're making a TV show, that means they don't consider this, like, an important character. They consider it an optional story because that is TV, right? You can't expect people to watch, hours and hours and hours and hours of the spin-off TV shows to understand what's happening in the movies.
And when you clip that kind of the sort of compulsion or the obligation to keep up with the serialized aspects of it, these TV shows really start to live or die by like qualitatively episodic storytelling.
Right.
And for me, I think I gave Hawkeye 2 or 3 episodes, and I was like, this is not working for me. I know it probably won't connect to whatever the next movie is. I'm out.
Yeah.
That's good. I actually enjoyed everything about Hawkeye until the last episode.
Oh, interesting.
Which, well, I don't think this is a spoiler at this point, that Kingpin shows up.
Yeah.
And they make him a fucking cartoon character all of a sudden. Like they, I'm scared about, because they've been talking about new Daredevil season and stuff like that. I hope they just get the same people, because Daredevil is probably my favorite thing that to come out of the MCU. And one of the things I liked about it was Kingpin was treated like a human, right? Like a human being who's mortal, and they do not treat him that way in Hawkeye. He does some stuff where I'm like, I don't think a person can survive that moment. And so, like, I don't know where I was going with this. Oh, yeah. Just that, like, I'm a little nervous about that merging as well, of, like, the Disney Plus shows versus the Netflix shows and what that's gonna amount to. I don't know.
Yeah, the DCEU has really more failed than succeeded, I think. But I think what we see with something like The Batman, which I just really loved so deeply and so much, is that they are a lot better at giving rooms and giving the space and opportunity to try a bunch of different tones and vibes in a way that the MCU, because of its interconnectivity, feels it can creatively hamstring it a little bit when it has to feel consistent. Which is why I loved WandaVision so much, because every episode was like, we're going to do a kind of a new self-contained tone or thing.
Yeah. It was different. But yeah, we don't have to go on about Marvel. I feel like we start half of these shows
and then just,
with a Marvel trailer.
Just talking about Marvel. We're like,
well, there's not much more to say, which is like, I'm kind of lukewarm on it. This trailer looks good. We'll see what happens. You know?
This is one that I will definitely watch, though.
Me too.
It won't be one like Hawkeye. This feels more essential for me personally. Like, this is one that I want to like sit down and see.
It just feels more fun, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next trailer is for Tokyo Vice on HBO Max. This is very adult programming.
Yeah.
Very serious.
Michael Mann coming in here. It's based on a. If listeners don't know, it's based on a series of reporting by Jake Edelstein, I believe is his name. He did a lot of he like embedded himself with the Tokyo Police Bureau for a time, and he wrote a lot about the Yakuza. And this show or movie?
Show.
Okay, this show from Michael Mann, which is based on that stuff. So it's all this Yakuza stuff. Ken Watanabe is there as a grizzled police detective. Yeah. I wrote in our Slack the other day that I would follow Ken Watanabe into Mount Doom. Whatever he does, I'm gonna watch. Him, the quality of the source material, the fact that it's Michael Mann is enough for me to be like, hell yes, I'm going to watch it, even though the main character is Ansel Elgort.
Who is that guy?
He was the lead in the new West Side Story.
He's Baby Driver.
Oh, he's a creep.
He's the creep. Yeah, he's a creep.
That's a bummer, because I wanted this inside of me, and now I'm a little hesitant now, because every other element, it's just like, oh fuck, yeah. That said, when we get to it, if I had to pick between, I don't know why I'd have to pick between this and the next trailer. Obviously, the next trailer is but like, yeah, this is just like gritty adult crime shit. Which is,
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, this is where I love to live. I love gritty adult crime shit. I love Michael Mann. I love Kenny Dubs. I wanted the trailer to like work for me even harder. A lot of it I felt like was cut a little bit generic. I didn't love like the claps lining up with the music. I feel like a lot of trailers
really weird.
Yeah. But at the end, there was this one shot. It looked like it was the first part of a oneer, sort of an action little sequence. And that moment to me was like, ooh, Michael Mann was allowed to flex a little bit. I'm all the way in. Let's go.
The claps, it was like, what is this, the fucking intro to Friends? Like, what is happening there? Yeah. That really confused me. But like, yeah, the show itself looks like it's going to be all sorts of intense. Really, like, it's got that divorced dad energy. Got that
got the
Passing out in front of the
History
lazy
Channel
boy.
vibes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I do see what Greg is saying. I agree with that. Where it does, were it not for the talent behind it, I might be less jazzed on it because the trailer is fairly generic for this genre. But like, so
I had a similar thought with the Divorced Dad energy, where it was like, this is the new version of that. This is the new version of like your CSIs or your NYPD Blues, where it's like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, that's the adult crime thing. That's too boring for me. Like, I'm watching this and I was thinking like the kid version of me would look at this and go, I am so not into this. But now it's just like, yeah, oh God, I'm hitting 40. This is great. I can't wait. But now it's got a creep in it. So I don't know, man. I'm a little less pumped for this.
Well, my experience watching West Side Story was that literally everyone around him, in front of and behind the camera, was working at the absolute height of their powers. And then we had this wet plank of wood in the middle.
Right.
A super creep, not a great actor.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's also not very talented.
I'm imagining it's going to be a similar vibe for this one.
Yeah. Well, we will see. Again, compared to the next trailer, because the next trailer, folks, is We Own This City, which is, I feel like they bury this. I believe this is not just the producers of The Wire. It's
Davey Simon, right?
It's David Simon. Yeah.
it's Simon himself.
But boy, any guesses on where it takes place?
It's Baltimore. They tell you it in like the first.
I know.
But it's
John
man.
Barenthal doing a good Baltimore accent too.
John Barenthal in a David Simon cop drama.
He was.
I was just like,
he looks like he was created in a lab to be in a David Simon cop drama.
to play a crooked cop.
Yes,
I'm all in. I'm all in.
God, yes, I'm all in.
Yeah.
David Simon, like The Wire.
We don't
need to praise The Wire.
We don't need to restate how awesome The Wire is. You all know. You guys.
Yeah.
Know.
What always made it good to me is that like they portrayed everything was so like neutral. Like we have cops or cop characters like McNulty that we love to laugh about and be like, yeah, McNulty, but he's like a piece of shit in that show. He's very good, David Simon, at just like not rubbing it in your face, just like showing you it.
It's not
in a neutral way.
It's not a lot of judgment and not a lot of moralizing.
Exactly, but it doesn't need to be because you
Right.
watch it and you're like, yeah, I think I know who's good and bad here.
Yeah.
It almost
he
felt
doesn't
to me a little bit. Sorry, it almost felt a little bit to me like this trailer maybe knew that that's what the show was, and to kind of draw in casual viewers, it felt a little overcranked to me.
Yeah.
It felt a little like that scene where he's like, "There's a bunch of cash on the ground. Do you take it?" I'm like, "Yeah,
right.
It's a little melodramatic. I love it. Maybe this is more of a hyperbolically pitched show, which I would be into, or maybe they chose that to like play to the cheap seats a little more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see them doing that. I can see an executive being like, police corruption is hot right now. Let's really play it up. Like, I don't know if this is the trailer seems to make it about this, but I don't know if it's just about that aspect or if it's going to be like The Wire where it covers a broad spectrum.
I think it might be that, or at least a broad spectrum of areas of the police department, because there's a lot of characters in this trailer, and it looks like at least 2 or 3 distinct storylines.
It's also a mini-series, which
that makes me want to watch it even more.
Yeah, they're hot right now, the mini-series is. So, like, yeah, I don't know. That's probably a good sign, right? Man, yeah,
I don't mean to open up this can of worms. I tend to agree with you that that's probably a good sign. It does feel a little dispiriting that it feels like every idea that late 90s, early 2000s would have been a very good 2-hour or less adult drama at the movies is now a multiple episode miniseries. And because of that, they start to kind of spin their wheels a little bit.
A little bit, for sure.
I think there's definitely truth to that. I think that's like demonstrably true, right? Because like they're all a lot of these streamers are looking for things like that specifically.
Right. Normally, this would be something that, it might be. Well, I don't know about this specifically, but I know what you're saying, which is like things that would normally play in theaters just don't have a place there anymore. They're not giant superhero films, so they have to go on this, and it's not enough to just do a movie. I'd say David Simon is, The Wire isn't his only good show, I would say. I liked The Corner a lot, although The Corner was very depressing, but it was quite good. Generation Kill was a miniseries, and he killed it with that. That was really good. So, like, I think, I don't know. I think for this, he knows how to make a miniseries.
Absolutely.
And so, like, I'm less worried about that for this. But I do think in general that is a concern for sure, right?
I feel like more so with, well, not even more so. It's just I notice it. I tend to notice it more with documentaries, like documentary miniseries, where it's like this should have been a 2-hour movie.
The worst offenders to me was Sasquatch and Evil Genius. Those are the two I watched where I was like, this should have been a movie. You stretched it. I think Sasquatch was a miniseries too, where remember when you used to get like the cliffhangers between commercials of old TV shows and they'd immediately deflate every single time? Like when you come back from ads, it'd be like, oh, it was no problem at all. That's what those feel like to me. A lot of those documentaries now is they keep having to hook you for the next episode. And it's always like really, really dishonest the way they hook people or something like that.
And now that they release batches of episodes all at once and we watch them all multiple in a row, that cliffhanger moment is completely neutered because the next episode begins 2 seconds later and you're immediately like, oh, I guess it was nothing.
Yeah.
Right. They just need enough for you to not stop watching.
Exactly.
Like, that's it. It's not like you have to tune in next week. It's like, no, keep sitting there. That's all we need. Yeah. I don't know what to do about it. Like, right now, it's like...
Well, have you called your local congressman?
No. I mean, not about
Get
this.
out and
I
vote,
call them all
Dave.
the time
Get out and rock
about
the
other
vote.
things.
That's how you solve this problem with wheel-spinning documentary series. So, yeah, that's We Own This City.
I think it looks dope. I'm ready.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I want like a fucking Thanos reveal halfway through the show. That's McNulty.
McNulty shows up.
Yeah, that's
Did
what
you
I
say?
want.
I'm happy either way. Did you just say McNulty or Nick Nolte?
McNulty.
But also, yeah, right.
Because I was gonna say I'm in for that.
Nick Nolte as old McNulty. Nick Nolte as McNulty. It writes itself.
Yeah.
And when you watch it in the winter, you brew some mulled tea as you watch
Excellent.
Nick Nolte play McNulty.
Yeah. This is all good.
Is it?
Yeah. These were all ideas were covered extensively during the initial pitch meetings for We Own This City.
All right. Well, this next trailer is for Moonshot, not to be confused with Moonfall.
Yeah.
Which,
It's entirely different directions.
Yeah. This isn't for me. That's not a judgment. It's just not for me.
This is a rom-com set in the not too distant future where this woman decides to
Lana Condor, right?
Yes, yeah.
Decides to all the boys I kissed before fame, I want to say.
Loved before. Yeah, that's the name of the movies, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. She decides to go on this Mars mission. She's an engineer. It looks like, but it seems like the trailer makes it seem like she's really going to Mars to follow her boyfriend, who is like seems like kind of a distant chode. And then she meets one of them twins, one of them sprouses.
Who I feel like would have if this was made 10 years earlier, would have been Zach Braff playing the role.
10 years earlier, Dave?
Maybe 15. I don't know. Look, time.
How about 20?
Sure, 20.
As it
Whatever,
stands,
man,
the
time.
Zach Braff jump scare in this trailer
Yeah.
really did
ghastly.
a number on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a haunted house fucking scare actor leaping out at you. It's like, oh my God, it's Zach Braff. So anyway, the Sprouse sneaks on board her Mars ship with her, and now he's got to hide in her room because he's not supposed to be on this Mars mission, and it's a will they won't they on a spaceship to Mars.
It's I don't know, man. I haven't seen it. I don't know what it's going to be, but it just feels like it's like really smart young woman going to Mars for a guy, and then like clearly is going to fall in love with this dipshit guy, and it's like that's the least interesting angle for this Mars, like this mission to Mars movie. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Or it's a show.
I'm pretty sure they didn't work backward from let's make a movie about this woman who goes to Mars. Like, I'm sure the beginning point was rom-com. Like, I don't think they arrived at rom-com.
Yeah, actually, now that's the thing. Well, I don't know. I could easily see Mars happening in one of the later drafts. You know what I mean? Like, I could easily see an executive being like, "Can we get something that makes it pop?" And they're like, "All right, I don't know. She's not going to Europe. She's going to Mars." And they're like, "Oh yes, we got a show now." Because it just, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen it. It just, man.
I want to, in sort of theory and broadly, I want to support any new original rom-com because I really like that genre. I think I wish they made more of them because I find them delightful even when they're bad. I watched Marry Me. I loved it. It's bad. This one, yeah, it feels a little cheaply made to me.
I was going to say the spaceship looks like a paintball set.
A little bit.
Or like a laser tag arena.
Right, so is this a series or is it a movie?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, it's, you know, the two, I think my main issue with it, I didn't feel any chemistry between the two leads.
No, he just seems like a dipshit.
He's a little doofus, yeah.
It was one of those moments where I'm like,
a doofy little doofus.
It's like she's like supposed to be like this wicked smart young lady going to Mars, and he just seemed like such a dry fart.
He's the guy that's going to teach her how to cut loose and stop being so serious all the time. No, I feel what Greg is saying, not just between the two leads, like the whole trailer like didn't have any charisma. Like none of the jokes landed. None of the beats they were trying to convey really came across. It was just like this. And yeah, next to the fact that the sets look very cheap. It's like, man. Ooh.
I forgave the sets because I thought it was a TV show. Knowing that this is a movie now, I'm like, oh, come on, you guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wondered if because it's going straight to HBO Max, right? It's not getting a theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that was planned from the jump or if this is a kind of Warner Bros. Being like, ugh, dump it to streaming kind of thing.
It's hard. It's so hard to tell now. Because we're in the third year of the pandemic. So this, I could easily see either where it was just like, let's just put this on streaming to maybe help our subscriber rate. Or it was just like, it looks like the kind of thing you'd film during quarantine, right? On these small little sets and
it also
minimal
feels
cast.
It feels like HBO Max being like, we don't have any like trashy Netflix comedies. Can we get one or two of those?
I mean,
they like intercepted like an email in Netflix headquarters. They're like, yeah, Moonshot. Because when I watched this trailer, I just assumed it was Netflix, and then it said HBO Max, and I was like, really?
I mean, yeah, they watched To All the Boys I Loved Before, and they were like, "Oh, let's just do that."
Let's put her in space, though. Yeah, it is the same. Because isn't the third one about like her boyfriend goes to college or something, and she has to like decide where she wants to go?
Probably, yeah.
I think that's like the third movie in that series. So they're just like, let's just take this movie and put her in space.
And I mean, good for Lana Condor. Get that streaming teen rom-com bag. You know, get it. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's got to be someone.
Mm-hmm. It's got to be
Why not
someone.
her? Yeah.
Why not her? Why not? She was Jubilee, right? Hold on. Yeah, she was.
Maybe?
She was Jubilee in X-Men Apocalypse.
She was?
Yeah.
Wow. Man. That movie.
Oh, it was her first role.
That movie washed right over me. Like,
yeah, I mean.
That movie does not exist.
No.
No, it barely
I need hard physical evidence that film exists.
Mm-hmm.
I remember driving by that billboard with Oscar Isaac choking Jennifer Lawrence every day for a while.
Yeah, there was
being
a few.
Like, they got to change that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, there were a few of those on my commute. All right, so I guess that's the physical evidence. I remember the billboards.
There you go. So yeah, Moonshot. Like, I don't know. It's not hurting anybody, I don't think.
No,
It could be, but I don't think it is.
I want to like it more because I love a cute and charming rom-com where movie stars fall in love.
Yeah.
This one just doesn't look like it has the goods. I don't know.
Well, here's
It feels
all
real
you need-
flat. It feels
Yeah.
real flat.
Look, here's all you kind of need to know about this, about what I think the level of laziness and effort put into every part of this. It's about going to Mars, and it's called Moonshot. Yeah, like that alone, I think is just like I feel like you didn't. I feel like they didn't. Like I feel like there was a lot of like first idea thrown out, and everybody said, "Yep, that's good. Let's keep going." Like I don't know, man.
Maybe this
Fucking
was
Moonshot.
originally literally we're going to the moon. And then some exec was like, "No, change it to Mars," and then they just
Make
never
it
changed
Mars.
the title.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
Mars is hot now, and
Yeah.
and it's a longer
Mm-hmm.
trip, so you couldn't have like however long it is. I think she says it's like 20 days or 30 days or something.
Yeah.
It doesn't take that long to get to the moon, so
Did y'all
How you-
see?
how you gonna
Did y'all
tell a
see
story in that time?
Passengers?
no,
Yeah.
Yeah,
You haven't seen Passengers, Tom?
no, I know what happens.
It's horrifying.
It's really bad.
Oh,
Well, right.
yeah.
Well, like we don't have to rehash that conversation now, but I remember us having a long conversation about how like the idea of that movie would be a great thriller premise.
Yes.
From
If
the
you
perspective
just,
of Jennifer
from
Lawrence.
her
Yeah.
perspective, you make Chris Pratt the bad guy. Like
Yes.
that's
Yeah,
a
you-
great thriller.
You don't even have to recast it. Chris Pratt, if he wanted to get because I think people are getting pretty sick of him.
Yeah.
If he wanted to refresh everybody's like love of him, start playing villains, man.
That
like-
he hasn't really done that. He'd be good at that.
Yeah.
It's like the closest I think is like Magnificent Seven, where he's kind of like a racist piece of shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's great in that.
Yeah, he's
It's like
pretty good
the
at
best
it.
thing. Yeah.
I bring up Passengers because, and it's apropos that we're talking about how like Passengers premise is icky. I got shades of that in the Moonshot trailer.
A little bit. Yeah.
Of like him sort of foisting himself upon.
That's what. Yeah.
yeah. Now
I'm
I'm
like,
your problem.
That's what I'm saying. It's an accomplished young woman with like a career in science whose main arc is which guy do I choose, and it just feels. And one of them is like, feels like a sex pest who like followed her on and is like, I'm a doofus, and it's like, well, she's gonna pick that guy too.
He's the kind
And
of
it's-
guy, if you you leave him alone for 5 seconds, he's going to depressurize the entire ship.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I feel like this woman just needs to like focus on her career and not this dipshit. But I don't know. Let's see how it goes. Maybe she launches him into space at the end of the
fun.
movie.
That just explosive decompression.
That would be amazing.
It turns into that Total Recall scene where his eyeballs bulge out and stuff.
Yeah, he just floats away like an icicle, like Tim Robbins in Mission to Mars. I get why they were so married to Moonshot, because it's like, this is your, shoot the moon. This is your moonshot.
yeah.
But it's like, but it's not the moon anymore.
It's not the moon.
It's not the moon. It's Mars. Mars shot. Shoot
Mars
Mars.
shot.
Nobody says
love,
that.
Love on Mars. Life on Mars.
Love on Mars. I don't know, man.
Is that
Just
okay?
name it something different. Name it something different.
Mission to Mars. Call it Mission. No.
Mission
no?
to Mars.
Kissing to Mars.
Kissing to Mars. There it is.
Mars. All right, I want to talk about this next trailer.
Oh,
Okay.
man. Hell yeah.
Memory. This is there's like this pattern with Martin Campbell, which is that he'll make movies that I will watch the trailer and just like slowly like lose interest, and then it'll say from the director of Casino Royale, and you're like, oh,
Back
okay,
on
this
board.
Back in
yeah,
days.
this generic looking movie is actually probably good.
There's two things. Okay, so this is yet another Liam Neeson aged badass beats the Christ out of just everybody. Just smashes them to bits. In the first couple of shots, there's a moment where he absolutely beasts this guy through a bathroom stall and like knocks the toilet out of the wall. That's like the first moment that made me sit up, because I was like, that's a little like they put some work into the stunts here. What's going on? And then of course it hits that from the director of Casino Royale. I was like, I'm all in.
Does it help that it's also a remake of a very good?
I saw that.
I
yeah.
saw that
Yeah.
I spotted that in the end credits, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So I'm probably gonna watch this one. I've
yeah.
skipped the past 7 years of Liam Neeson movies, but this one, I'm on board.
Here's the thing, though, with Martin Campbell, who my mother has met, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah, because he was filming Edge of Darkness.
I was about to say, are you trying to tell us that Martin Campbell's your dad?
Yeah. No, he was filming Edge of Darkness where I grew up, and it was on a state park. So any old yokel can just wander on set because they couldn't close it down legally, and those yokels were my parents, who would just approach people, which is delightful. The point is,
did they talk to Mel?
No, Mel was the only one. He only came for one day, but they talked to the producer and the director just by approaching him, which is just delightful to me. Of my parents walking up to the director, who was probably working, who is just like, "Oh, hi, yep." Point is that Edge of Darkness is a very generic film. The only reason the only reason I've watched it is because it's my hometown. Otherwise, it's like generic film with Mel Gibson that's still quite well done. And what I was getting at is that this could be that's one end of the spectrum for him, right? Is that like he always makes a good movie, but sometimes the script isn't, sometimes it's Green Lantern.
I was about to say sometimes it's Green Lantern.
Yeah. Sometimes it's he's not picky as a director, I would say.
No, but he's got more hits than misses.
Oh yeah.
I
loved his last movie, The Protégé. Did y'all see that?
Not yet, but it's on my list.
Maggie Q. It really worked for me, and what I liked about it, and what I kind of picked up on this trailer, there's really good action, really tightly constructed set pieces, but there's also like a very grown-up sense of, I don't know if I want to say maturity, but like darkness and sort of like very adult, weird feelings of regret. And I like that there are elements of that in memory, which the high concept is he's losing his memory.
Yeah.
That added a very interesting steak dinner, not junk food-esque wrinkle to it.
Right. It's like a more mature set, because Martin Campbell's aged himself at this point, but it's like more mature set of stakes in that it's like I might not be physically able to do this, where it's your own limitations start to become a thing in these kinds of stories.
Yeah, it's one more boomer who refuses to retire.
Yeah.
I hope it ends that way with them like intervening and like some younger guys. Like,
I mean, he definitely shouldn't be running around with a gun.
No, he really shouldn't be.
Can't remember what he was doing 5 minutes ago.
And of course, since it's about memory, Guy Pearce is there.
Mm-hmm. He sure is.
I've been down this road before. Get a tattoo gun, mate.
You just write them on yourself, mate. Use yourself as a notepad.
That's the secret. But yeah, I do really like the idea. The premise here is great.
I'm going to see the hell out of this movie. I will say.
Yeah, me too.
I recently went and saw Blacklight.
Oof.
Which is the new Liam Neeson with a gun movie.
Yeah.
It was Tommy Wiseau levels of like absurdly bad.
It looked bad, but you saying that makes me want to watch it.
I recommend watching it.
I think what it is he reminds me of Nicolas Cage, where Nicolas Cage will say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And what that means is that there's a lot of mediocre films he's in, but then there are also some really good ones. Like, I feel like, this is just a theory, I feel like he puts the same amount of thought into approving the script for, I don't know, Primal? Was that what that was called?
With Nick
the one
Cage?
where he's on the... Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, with the tiger?
Yeah.
And Kevin
I feel
Durant.
like he puts as much effort into like being cast in that as he does with Mandy. Like, he's just like, yeah, no, I'm here. I'll do the thing.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? And sometimes it's like amazing, and sometimes it's like, yeah, no, I'll fight the CGI tiger, sure. And so I feel like Liam Neeson's the same, where it's like, no, I'm action old guy, and if a good one slips in there, so be it. Mm-hmm. Like, if The Gray like something like that's.
I like Nonstop myself.
Yeah. Where he's just like, look, I'm just doing the action stuff. It's up to you. If you want to make a good film, go for it. I don't care. Yeah.
Just do whatever. I'll be here doing my thing. Like, he was in Krull. Like, he was in movies for like 10 years before he. Yeah. Like, I feel like he is just like a working actor. It's like,
yeah, he is.
He did Schindler's List like right after Darkman.
Yeah, he's a character actor who got famous.
Yeah.
And that's what and he's like this like train just chugging along, like not a care in the world. I don't know. And I think Martin Campbell's the same. He reminds me of like, not in style, but he's like De Palma, where I feel like you'll go back and look at his career and go, I didn't even know that movie existed. Apparently he did it. Yeah. You know, where it's like he's just working. They're just working.
I have a lot of respect for that kind of filmmaker, you know.
Oh, yeah.
A De Palma type guy, like a
Richard Donner
Donner guy. Sort of John Carpenter is like the artful version of that, but somebody who just like takes the assignment. Steven Soderbergh is sort of in this way.
Soderbergh, yeah.
They take the assignment and they do it really surprisingly well. And in a way that you can kind of like feel not only their professionalism, but like their enthusiasm, no matter what it is.
Right, where they're just like, look, we're making fucking movies.
Yeah, man.
We're not saving lives or anything, but we're having fun. We're making
Sometimes it's going to be Schindler's List. Sometimes I'm going to just beat the shit out. I'm going to kick a guy through a toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Like it doesn't matter. It's the work. If one of them people really like, that's great. Yeah, no, I like Richard Donner the most for that, only because he was always like, what are we doing, a horror movie? Yeah, I'll do that perfectly. Here you go.
Yeah, here's
what
the
are we
Omen.
doing, an adventure child film? Yeah, I'll do that perfectly. Here you go. Superman? Yeah, here we go. Like, he was like a chameleon. It was great. Speaking of chameleons, boom!
What a
perfect
segue.
Transition.
Nailed it, man.
Pentaverate? Pentaverate?
Well, hold on, let's take a minute longer to really bask in that segue. No.
The Pentaverate.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
The Pentaverate.
This is Mike Myers' Master of Disguise.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
In every possible way you can interpret that.
Only it's like a series, right?
It's like it's Master of Disguise meets Maniac. That Jonah Hill, Emma Stone show. It really gave me that vibe specifically.
I can't wait to watch one episode of this and then probably put it down. I hope it is amazing. I hope it's the best thing. I hope it's the number one comedy in America. I hope it's like Adam Sandler, his last stand-up special, where everybody came out of it like, whoa, that was amazing. That's what I hope for this.
I mean, it's not going to be that.
Come on,
I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by the sort of aesthetic darkness, the weird conspiracy stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird, though, that like the least intriguing parts, I think, were when I actually saw Mike Myers do broad character-based comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was like,
Yeah, I like the graphics and the editing, the aesthetic, like you said. It's very like Darth Marenghi, that shit.
Garth Marenghi.
But what did I say?
You said Darth, which I also want to see.
You were referring to the Sith Lord,
Darth Marenghi.
But I do feel like if it is like, I'm going to call him Darth Marenghi now, then he's, too late. But it's from the director of Action Point, so there's that.
Action Point is a terrible film.
Never saw it.
Oof. I mean, I don't know. You could probably watch it. It's it's based
I loved
on
the new Jackass.
Yeah, it's Action Point, the real life. You remember Class Action Park? It's like based on that.
Mm-hmm. I remember it coming out and being sort of interested.
I think the problem, they showed all the funniest stuff in the trailers, and I don't know. They try to make a narrative out of it, and it's just like real. I don't know. Watch it for yourself and decide. I saw it with my friend in the theater, and we were like one of 4 people in there, and it was oof. It was real bad. The premise, real quick, for people listening, of the Pentaverate is there is a benevolent secret society, which gives me a lot of red flags, of 5 people who manipulate world events, and there's this Canadian journalist who's trying to uncover the conspiracy, and Mike Myers plays the journalist, and I believe every member of the Pentaverate.
That would make sense, right?
Yeah, and it's like one of the reasons I said it feels like Master of Disguise is because Master of Disguise not just is Dana Carvey playing a bunch of different characters, but also had this weird, complicated plot about a secret society that was specifically not evil.
Right.
So it's like it's a very childish plot.
It also feels like it gives me the impression that like it's like someone's demo reel. Like Masters of Disguise felt like Dana Carvey was
it's your
auditioning.
SNL audition, yeah.
Yeah,
After he was on SNL for many years.
And that's what this feels like too. Is just like Mike Myers was like, okay, so I'm going to give you, because there's one other writer on this. I think maybe two, and it feels like he might have given them just a list of impressions he could do. Like, that's what Master of Disguise felt like. It was like, here's a bunch of things I can do. Put it in this movie, and I'm afraid.
Yeah.
That's also what's happening here. I mean,
I am hopeful that that's what this is. I want to watch that. I want to watch Mike Myers as Master of Disguise.
It feels... I'm going to watch this because it feels so weirdly specific and so kind of unhinged in a singular... Like, you can tell it just came from one weird brain almost to me.
Yeah.
That's
Here's
definitely
the other
true.
thing. Mike Myers... fucking between Austin Powers and Shrek is probably, he could have us all killed in public and get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, he is very rich. So, like, I'm kind of excited to see, this is definitely probably, or it seems like it's going to be his fuck it project.
It's his blank
where
check,
he's like, yeah, where he's just like, I don't give a shit if you like it or not. I'm just going to do a bunch of stupid voices.
He hasn't really, apart from the, what was it, the Gong Show remake that he did, apart from that, like, he hasn't done anything since the Love Guru, right?
And then there's that Inglourious Bastards little cameo.
Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, that was the weirdest thing he's ever done.
It made more sense when there were more comedians in that movie.
Yeah.
And then they all had to be recast.
Right, and then it's just him.
So then it's just Mike Myers. It's Mike
Well,
Myers in a
and Paul
scene.
Rust and
apparently-
BJ Novak.
Right,
He was
they're still in it.
He was apparently in Terminal and Bohemian Rhapsody.
He was in Bohemian Rhapsody, and he was awful. I forgot
he
about
is
that.
in.
I don't remember him in Bohemian Rhapsody.
He
He
makes
is in
he makes like a self-aware joke about Wayne's World. He's like, kids would never listen to this in their cars. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. I must have
He's
blocked it
also
out.
in. He is in the upcoming Untitled David O. Russell, which I just want to note has Christian Bale in it. So, like, that's just a set of people screaming at each other.
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming.
Although I like the idea of David O. Russell directing Mike Myers. That weirdly makes sense to me. I don't know why.
Hold on. Sorry. This movie also has Michael Shannon and Timothy Oliphant in it.
Okay.
Which is
this is a
I'm all
film.
in. What are we
This
doing?
is a
I'm all
motion
in.
picture, yeah.
And no, I'm just naming the actors that to me feels like it is the most intense set imaginable, right? On top of that, Margot Robbie, Robert De Niro, Anya Taylor-Joy,
Wow.
Zoe Saldana, Remy Malik, and Mike Myers.
What movie
and
is
John
this?
David Washington.
Wow.
Chris Rock.
What?
What movie is
the
this?
Fuck! It's just Untitled David O. Russell. Plot details kept under wraps. Maybe it's an intervention for David O. Russell or something.
Hopefully.
But this is a fucking...
Wow.
That's madness. Imagine that set. Imagine being a PA on that set and having to deal with all that bullshit. That is incredible.
That's a lot of bullshit.
Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift's in the cast. Sorry. She's right there also.
Wow.
I don't believe this movie is real, Dave.
It's IMDb. They may be lying. I don't know.
That's true. They sometimes
Speaking
they
of
do that.
surprising supporting cast, that's my best attempt at a segue.
Yeah.
It'll work.
I was very happy to see other comedy actors show up in the Pentaverate trailer and get little moments. Like Ken Jeong's first line reading made me laugh out loud.
Oh, good.
Keegan-Michael Key shows up to play. It's like kind of cool to see people who I think are obviously inspired by Mike Myers' brand of like broad character sketch comedy show up and sort of have some fun and pay their respects.
Right,
That's
he usually doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like in like Austin Powers and the like Love Guru, like he's specifically kind of the only comedian, and
That's true.
And that's kind of like the idea behind a lot of his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Jeremy Irons is the narrator, and he's based his whole career off of Mike Myers.
That's right.
You can tell, right?
That's right.
When you look at Jeremy Irons, you're like, well, that's another Mike Myers right there.
Jeremy Irons watched that I'm Verklempt Coffee Talk SNL sketch and said, I'm going to make dead ringers.
I couldn't. I was like desperately trying to pull the title of that film because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, there's Jeremy Irons' Clumps. There's where he plays multiple roles.
Hercules.
Oh, I want that so bad.
Hercules.
Oh shit. All right. Do you want to do news stories? You want to thank some more patrons?
I do want to point out one more thing: is the Pentaverate it's coming out on May 5th. They're doing a lot of stuff about 5, but it's 6 episodes.
Oh.
Come on, guys.
Come on, get it
Doesn't make
together.
any sense.
Just make the 5 episodes longer.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah. Fuck
What are you
it.
doing?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like a minimum.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
5
maybe.
episodes is that's not a lot. That's real Master of Disguise being 70 minutes or whatever.
It's 72 minutes with credits and
The 13 minutes
the
of credits.
13 minutes of credits. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
if you've not ever seen Master of Disguise,
I have.
Okay.
Fascinating film.
I recommend
Fascinating.
everyone watch it. It's one of the best
movies ever made.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, let's move
all
on to
right.
news stories.
All right. Well, let's thank some patrons. Starting with Chester's Prophet. Thank you very much. Thank you to Definitely Not Guillermo del Toro. Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
Sure do.
Thank you to Bob Grenville.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Steven. Thank you to Han Toomey, the Confused Cyborg. Thank you to Asking Seven. Thank you to Happy Ed 209. Thank you very much.
All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Tiger George Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Thank
Thank
you.
you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank
Thank you
you.
to Manischewitz Maltov says economic solidarity is the path to paradise, comrades.
Thank you. It's true.
Thank you to E.T. the Extravagant Terresticle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Cody Johnston's Time Machine Noise.
Ooh.
Thank you to Pete Vorpagel.
Thank you.
Thank you to Glitterous, CFO of Michael Shannon's Chocolate Factory.
Thank you.
Thank you to pre-order Jason Pargin's new book. Pre-orders are super important.
It's true. So Samuel Jackson wants to be Mace Windu again. That's the story. That's the news.
Sure.
Look,
Why
slow
aren't
news.
we letting him?
Yeah, who would
I mean,
stop him?
because he's dead.
I mean,
Well,
they
Here's the
put
thing.
Darth Maul in Solo.
Yeah,
They
I was
gave
gonna
him
say.
they gave him spider legs, Dave.
Yeah, out of all the
pretty cool.
characters that they've resurrected, I would say Mace Windu is the one that I would want the most. It would be amazing to see him come out of some shadows and say some stupid line, say "party's over" like he does in episode 2, and we would all be very happy. And like I'm feeling pretty nihilist about Star Wars in general.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, fuck it, throw them all in there.
Yeah, that's all it is right now. That's fine.
I was
Yeah.
when I read this story, I immediately thought of Oscar Isaac in Rise of Skywalker saying somehow Palpatine return.
Yeah.
And I thought about how I hated that in Rise of Skywalker. And then I thought about if someone in one of these new Star Wars things said, somehow Mace Windu's back, I'd be like, great, let's see him. Let's get him out here. Who cares? Come on, let's see him.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you how? Absolutely
No,
not. Just bring him out
hurry.
here. Bring him, yeah.
Yeah.
Put
No,
him
you're
in
right.
front of my eyes.
Yeah.
I think that character rules. I like that he has a purple lightsaber. Let's see
Yeah.
him.
Hey, he has the purple lightsaber because he asked for one. So
Yeah.
He sure did.
historically, caving to Sam Jackson's Star Wars demands.
That's canon.
Net good. Good. It's a good thing. Yeah.
It is like here's the thing. I love Samuel L. Jackson. Mace Windu is one of the most boring characters ever.
Sure. Yeah.
Because they all are in the
Yeah.
prequels. They were told, it seems, to specifically not emote. So
yeah.
I would love to see a version of Mace Windu that is perhaps not directed by George Lucas, and perhaps directed by someone who's like, so when you talk, maybe like change your tone. And Samuel Jackson would be like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll try that.
Sounds risky, Dave.
Yeah.
What I will say, I think especially in Revenge of the Sith, and it's been a while since I've seen the prequels, but I agree with you, and yet I feel like I can see the inherent charisma of Sam Jackson just like, I'm going to be a little fun to watch. I can't help it.
That's kind of half of the cast of those prequels, where it's like, despite Lucas's best efforts, like people like Samuel L. Jackson and Ewan McGregor can't help but to be charismatic.
Christopher Lee, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, bring him back. Make a Mace Windu show.
Oh my god. I
Fuck
would watch I want that. I'd watch it. They should recast Ansel Elgort with Mace Windu in Tokyo Vice.
Here's what I want. Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
He just
like
lands
Mace
on
Windu
Earth after being thrown out of the window by Anakin.
dealing with the Yakuza.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's a great
No
show.
problems at all. Yeah. I want Mace Windu. I want to see him slam through like the roof of an apartment, and it's right after his death, and he just has to go through like intense physical therapy, and that's the show. Is like Mace Windu learning to function again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a there was that USA show about a sports doctor.
Yeah. Make
Plain
it like a
Plain
USA
Rough.
show.
Was it called Plain Rough?
Yeah.
It could be.
I mean, that sounds like it should star a dog that plays
Or
sports,
a
right?
golfer.
Yeah.
Mace
one or the other.
it's a three-hander. Mace Windu, a talking dog, and Adam Scott, the golfer, all share an apartment. Getting the
Fighting the Yakuza, yeah.
Fighting the Yakuza.
Mm-hmm.
Well, next story. I think we cracked that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I just to reiterate, that's basically all Star Wars is right now. Is hey, remember this guy? So yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Like they're not. You guys aren't doing anything new anyway, so fuck it. Yeah, give me
Yeah,
Mace.
we can. Yeah, at this point, it's like this era of Star Wars. It's like we're all going to skip over it anyway. Might as well go nuts.
A little bit.
Yep, it is the least essential period in all of Star Wars.
A little bit.
Yeah. So the next story is just about how Netflix is testing a feature to prompt subscribers to pay for users who are outside the household. This only bothers me because, like, when I go on vacation and shit, Netflix, they act like I'm a criminal, where they're like, someone logged into your account over here, and I'm like, I don't like you knowing where I am all the time. And so, like, this reinforces it.
To be fair, you are the great vacation robber, where you go on vacation specifically to rob, like, resorts. Is that right?
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
It's true. He's on to you.
But yeah, this is sort of, I guess the only reason this really rubs me the wrong way, we've talked about this before, is like, at any point, Amazon could just delete the movies you own.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't own the things you own anymore.
Nope.
And this is another feature of that, which is like, Netflix will detect if someone's not in your location using your Netflix and bully you about, like, why aren't you paying for them? And it's like, fuck you, man. If I buy a DVD and let my friend borrow it, I don't have to pay for it again. It's mine. This is my subscription. I can do with it what I want.
It really feels like the big streaming companies, well, Netflix more than any of them, it's that thing of a frog not knowing it's in boiling water because they just keep kind of testing it and seeing how far they can crank up the heat.
Right.
And we all just keep going like, well, I got to watch Stranger Things, so I'll stay in the boiling water.
Yeah. I don't know. Netflix is on thin ice with me because I don't watch them that often.
A lot of water metaphors. I like it.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man.
I'm really steamed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. They're gonna keep doing. It's what Greg just said. They're gonna keep doing shit like this because they're gonna see how much they can get away with.
But to your point, David, I do tend to agree that, like, you know, it's telling that the trailers we're the most excited for television-wise were both HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like they get more room to have a sort of singular David Simon voice, whereas Netflix feels like, quote-unquote, Netflix.
Yeah. It's weird that it's weird that both Netflix and Disney Plus, for me, I've been lukewarm on. While all the Warner Brothers DC companies now are like starting to entice me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just like that's different than it was like 5 years ago. Because like Netflix now it just feels like it's just stuff for like teens. Like it's not necessarily bad, but it's just like I don't feel the need to have Netflix really anymore.
Here's my very stupid read on it.
Sure.
Just based on the thoughts that are flying into my head right now.
Hey, that's talking, baby.
Yeah,
it's podcasting.
Spoken like a true white man with a microphone.
Yeah.
I feel like Netflix is approaching this sort of from the old Hollywood model, which is what we saw with Quibi. If you remember old Quibi, where it's just shotgunning money all over the place. Like it buys up distribution for that's where it gets a lot of its programming. It's just buying the distribution for stuff that other people have made, which is great in a lot of ways. We get to see a lot of great foreign films that would have been very hard to see otherwise. But it's also this very quantity over quality mentality for Netflix. Whereas I feel like places like Apple TV and HBO, which are still shotgunning lots of money all over the place, Apple in particular, they're spending money like holy shit.
Finch.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Finch.
Yeah. the must-see film of 2022. But like it feels like it's HBO Max and Apple TV and maybe Hulu, but Hulu has the Disney problem, which is more Disney not knowing what the hell to do with Hulu. Anyway, I'm distracting myself. The point is, it feels like there's more space for like creator-driven projects on like HBO and Apple, where they're more concerned with, well, we can't compete with Netflix's volume, so let's make shit that's good that'll draw people.
And that's a good way for them to be a viable alternative to Netflix's here's all the money in the world, but creatively we have a lot of things to say sort of strategy. Right.
And all I want is like a place where I can watch like 90s Denzel movies.
Yeah,
it's yeah, man.
It's weird, but like the best adjective or descriptor that keeps popping into my head is it's grown up. It's like grown up stuff where it's like Netflix, even though there's some wild shit on Netflix, but it's like that and Disney Plus, which are kind of feel like to me the two big dogs in streaming right now. They're very kid stuff, which is fine and great, but it's like sometimes I want to watch Nobody Believes Denzel Part 5, which is every movie he made in the 90s was Nobody Believes Denzel. Yeah, exactly.
I gotta watch The Bone Collector 90s, or I'm gonna lose my mind.
Exactly. I'm gonna flip the fuck out if I can't watch Malice.
Remember when that's how Netflix started. It was just like, here's a bunch of bullshit we could afford, and it was like, this is exactly the bullshit I want. Thank you. So it's like, here's shit that you'd see on daytime on on USA or whatever, and here it is.
Like Playing Rough, everyone's favorite show.
Yeah,
starring Matthew Perry, right?
Sorry, it stars Matthew Perry as the voice and mocap performer of Finch.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Could I be any more of a robot dog?
Clink clank.
I like that.
We got a show, folks.
Hey, sorry. I was going to say, now this is podcasting.
Yeah.
Well, you did, Tom.
I did say that. I was going to, and then I
you did.
Yeah, I manifested it.
Let's thank some more patrons.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Big thank you to the Midnight Patron with Patrons at Midnight. Thank you very much. Thank you to Exploding Runes. Thank you. Thank you to Andrew, the proud Satanist Howe. Thank you.
Praise him.
Yeah. Thank you to Vincent. Also praise him. Thank you to Rev MD. Thank you. Thank you to Lauren Gucci. Thank you very much. Thank you to Bootler Boodleson. Thank you. Thank you to Tux. Thank you to Ricky Cilantro. Thank you to Norm from Cheers. Thank you to Space McNulty. Thank you.
Let me take over. Thanks to your mom.
Yeah.
Thank you to Nolan Mayton.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew. Follow Marina on Twitch and Patreon at Heartfist Brain McGuire.
Thank you.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Thank you.
Thank you to Burrito Mouth.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Ghost of Dave Thomas.
Thank you.
Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparts, Esquire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick. Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J.
Thank you.
And thank you to Pie Guy.
Pie Guy.
It was nice of y'all to thank my mom.
Oh, your mom's always been a huge supporter of the show. We want to make sure we shout her out each time.
Well, that's really kind.
Yeah,
we're kind guys.
It's how we give back.
Yeah.
Speaking of giving back, Dave, I want you to give me back the last
your son
hour. Yes. Give me back my son and the last hour of my life. And I demand that you tell me if you have a movie that deserves more hype.
Okay.
He's not going to have one.
I do.
Oh, shit!
Yeah. I do have a
What
movie
a
that
fool
deserves
you've
more
made
hype.
of me.
Yeah. This is called Watcher. Not to be confused with The Watcher.
The
which
Watcher.
I believe is a Keanu Reeves.
It is a
sure
Keanu
is,
Reeves
Dave.
flick.
Yeah. This is just called Watcher. I'm guessing this is going to get more buzz. This trailer isn't hurting. But this is coming out June 3rd. I don't know. In theaters, which is another reason why I think it'll probably get more buzz because we're just like farther away. It is basically, it looks like The Woman in the Window, but like good.
Yeah.
It's about it's the lady from It Follows who moves
And
to
the guest,
Romania.
right?
Yeah.
And the
she's in
guest,
as
yes.
well.
Who moves to
An Independence
Romania.
Day resurgence.
Yes.
Of
Oh
course.
God, yes. And she looks across the street, and there's a figure that is just constantly watching her from the other apartment. Hence the name. And it becomes this like gaslighty paranoia where like I think the murder happens, and she thinks it's that person, and it just looks like a mystery thriller. That just, I don't know, if you watch the trailer, it looks really good. And the reason I flagged it more than anything was that the director is Chloe Okuno, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You would know her as the director of Storm Drain in VHS 94, a.k.a. Hail Rotma.
Ratma innocent.
Yeah.
Ratma did nothing wrong.
Yeah, and so that on its own, like, I don't even need to know what the movie is.
Kind of,
like,
yeah.
It's her next movie. She gave me plenty of goodwill from that segment. So I'm like, well, fuck. I want to know what this is. And the trailer looks good. I think the trailer looks good.
Yeah.
She also wrote it. She also wrote both the segment and Watcher. That's important too. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I appreciate that context. This trailer really looked good to me. This is my kind of shit to a T. I love the style of it already, and what I particularly love, I really dug VHS 94, and I dug the Ratma segment.
Same.
This I guess it's partially because of the sort of demands of the VHS assignment. Watcher feels so different from anything in VHS, even her segments.
Absolutely.
That it's like really exciting to see her on a feature-length playground do something so specific and so like heightened, but in a totally different lane. It's really cool.
Right, it's a completely different tone, and that makes me
Right. I think the real hook for me, aside from just the general mood of the trailer, but this really contributed to it, was the fact that it's unlike The Woman in the Window. It's not a murder or something that she sees. It's just this figure in the
Not
window
unlike
across
It
the street.
Follows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just fucking
Right.
standing there staring at your house, and it's like it's almost like a thought experiment, like It Follows. Like the more you sit with it and think about it, it's like that would be like terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is this someone watching her? Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
whole
and
trailer
it's
is
from-
just that tone.
Yeah, and not that this is a necessary, but from a woman's perspective with the like creepy dude, like that, that there is a level there that makes it more significant. And so like, I don't know, the perspective of this, the tone, the fact that this director did something that was completely batshit before this, it's just like, oh, I'm so very intrigued by this movie.
I want to be buried with the Ratma segment. Like,
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
put that in the casket with me, please.
Yeah. All right, I will.
Yeah, no,
I'll do it.
you guys are hearing it, so yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And I'll do
I
the
have a
same for
thing.
you.
I'm sorry, I'm busy.
Okay,
Whenever you
well,
die, I have a thing. I'm busy.
yeah, sure, of course. It's a little
I
short
got
notice, I understand.
No, I got it. Yeah, so that's it. That's
Yeah.
my pitch. It's just got all of the things. It's got fucking It Follows in it, who I think she's great.
Yeah,
that
she is.
actress.
Oh.
She kind of just stares blankly a lot, and I love it. I like that's a lot of her characters. It feels like are kind of blank slates. Is that just me?
To a degree, it's there's
I don't mean that as an insult.
right. It's just the kinds of specifically the
stoic.
kinds of horror movies that she's been in. That's kind of what it requires of the character.
Yeah,
And
her
I
name is
rewatched,
Micah Monroe, by the way. Micah Monroe. Also she's got like she's got personality in The Guest.
I was
So
just
it's not
about to
just
say,
that.
I rewatched The
Yeah.
Guest, and she's very kind of spunky and combative in a very fun and endearing way in that.
Yeah.
I think It Follows is a lot more like artfully prestige, quiet, withdrawn
Right.
kind of stuff.
She's been in a lot, but this is her return to stoic young lady haunted by like slow burn creeps.
I'm so glad you're on this episode, Greg, because what I kept thinking for the entire trailer was like, it's Dane DeHaan.
It's The Stranger.
Yeah, it's gonna be Dane DeHaan.
It's Quibi's The Stranger.
Oh no.
Just standing there staring, like that's gonna be the reveal. It's like, it's Dane.
Horrifying. But yeah, everybody check out the trailer. Again, I have a feeling like in a month it'll just be a thing that people will know is coming out.
It might be, but you know,
I don't know. Who can say?
You're here calling it out early for everyone to check out.
I am.
Quick bit of context for a website that I just won't leave vague. Greg and I both had to write pieces about Quibi's The Stranger.
We had to write
Is that
branded
what's-
content.
We had to write
about
branded content.
Micah Monroe and Dane DeHaan's Quibi thriller, The Stranger.
So wait, did Dane DeHaan sit on his hand until it fell asleep
And then he jerked off to you.
masturbated?
Yeah.
That's what it's about, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just 90 unbroken minutes of that.
And
Yeah,
the fun
I'd
thing
watch
is that as you're watching it on your phone, if you do it in landscape mode or horizontal mode, it's perfectly framed on Dane DeHaan masturbating with his fallen asleep
Of
hand.
course.
Yeah.
Just
of course.
pummeling his crank.
What's Dane DeHaan up to? No one knows? No one-
He was in Lisi's story.
Oh, I guess he's in Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
yeah,
massive cast.
It's no Untitled David O. Russell, but it's a
Yeah,
massive
for
cast.
sure, man. Put the cast of Untitled David O. Russell in Oppenheimer. Too
Ooh,
sweet.
Battle to the death. I like it.
Yeah. All right, we'll do it. That'll happen.
I think... did we do it? Is that it?
Yeah, no. we're
That's
done.
a sewed. We've done it!
Woo!
Oh, Greg, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a
thank
joy.
you.
This is so fun. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, anytime. What do you want to tell people? What do you want to plug? What do you want to say?
Oh, man. I'm Greg Smith. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SmithLGreg. It's also my website, SmithLGreg.com. Come check out what I like to do, baby. It's the catchphrase I'm trying. I didn't love it.
Yeah, that's
I get
that's
it.
another strike. I'm sorry.
It looked pretty good on the shirts, though. I see why you tried to
Thank you.
make it
And thank you
work.
for
Yeah.
wearing the shirts, by the way. That means a
I,
lot.
I do what I can. You know, I'm trying to help us all out. You know,
Our shirts,
a rising
NFTs.
tide raises all ships. Yeah. Dave,
So yeah, thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me.
Tom, you want me to say something?
I would love for you to say some stuff too, Dave.
We have a Patreon. Listen, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have a bunch of stuff on there. For $5 a month, you get access to a bunch of exclusive podcasts like Tom and Just Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. For a little extra, we watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. That is the night of this episode coming out. I don't know what we're going to watch. Maybe To Kill a Mockingbird?
Maybe
We'll see.
maybe Quibi's The Stranger. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of options.
There's so
I
many
forget-
options.
I forget every time what we watched the week before.
Last week we watched Pure Luck and Loose Cannons.
Yeah, see, that would
that's-
explain it.
Kind of evening you can look forward to. We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com where you can find a link to our Teespring store where you have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out or don't. I don't know, man. You're the master of your own destiny.
I completely pushed those movies out of my head. Both Strange Lucks and Loose Cannons until this moment.
I could tell because it wasn't called Strange Luck, Dave. That's a show.
That's a great show.
Oh, man.
Matthew Perry was so good in that.
He was.
Yeah, he was really good.
Uh,
He looks great in Watcher, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah, as
He's the
the
Watcher,
Micah
yeah.
Monroe character.
As the Micah Monroe character. Oh man! All right, we should we should probably leave before this gets any worse. Say goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can follow him on Twitter at @thecorlew, Corlew, and find more music at shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our artwork is produced by Justin Brown. You can follow him on Twitter at @JustinTBrown, and find more of his artwork at artnessbyjustinbrown.com and justinbrown.info.